Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to explain something in a way that your brain, if you can see this very, very simple pattern, you're going to understand something about narcissists, and it'll become so crystal clear that you realize, well, there's literally nothing to argue about. There's not only is there nothing to argue about, it's a complete waste of time once you see this pattern. Alright, I know I've talked about this in a couple videos in the past, but I'm gonna explain this in a different way. This will help you understand why, no matter what happens, you are always the enemy. And if you're not the enemy, then somebody has to become the enemy. Okay, so let me read off to you the definition and meaning of dichotomous thinking. So, dichotomous thinking is the propensity to think of things in terms of binary opposition. That's a complicated way of saying either or. So, I'm going to read it again. It says, dichotomous thinking is the propensity to think of things in terms of binary opposition, such as black or white, good or bad, or all or nothing. So, all or nothing. This thinking style can be viewed as the tendency to get stuck in either the thesis or the antithesis, unable to move towards synthesis, okay? If you remember the video I made on Hegelian dialect, the way they do it is they look for the antithesis to whatever you're saying, and then they say, hey, well, let's meet somewhere in the middle. And then once you get in the middle, they go, okay, what's the antithesis to that? And so they keep going towards the negative, and you keep getting pulled off track, off path. And next thing you know, you're in a conversation like, wait, how did we get from I wanted to go to the store to buy apples to pit bulls shouldn't be allowed to run free? So narcissists, they divide. Everything they do is divide, even if you're just having a conversation. So yes, they are the masters of division. Now, here's something you have to understand. They are also completely 100% divided inside their own mind. Their left and right brain are completely divided. There's no connection. And yes, this drives them insane inside. Okay, this is why they need you, because they want to be good. But in order for them to be good, someone else has to be bad. I'm going to show you a visual example of what this means. So the war that you're having with a narcissist is the war that they're having in their brain before they ever met you. The argument that you're having with a narcissist is the argument that they're having inside their own brain before they ever met you. These are not new arguments that they're having. In fact, if you could be a fly on the wall and see what it was like with the last person that they had and the person before that, I guarantee you it will be the same arguments. So here's the deal. The arguments and the wars that you have with narcissists, they have absolutely nothing to do with you. I'm serious. It's as if you don't even exist, and you never did. And that's really probably the best thing I've ever said about narcissists. You have never existed in their mind. You, or the illusion of you, was just that. It was an illusion. They're in their own world, arguing with themselves. You're just this external thing that they're having an argument with. They basically pushed you, cornered you into this argument, and they're the masters of doing that. So here's the deal. When you leave, this argument will continue inside their own brain for the rest of their life. It has nothing to do with you. You just happen to be the next victim that they project the negative side of the argument onto. Okay, so in the next image we're going to show you how a narcissist looks at the world. Technically how the either-or mind, the left brain, looks at the world. It's like this. There's a rectangle, and then what they do on an unconscious level is they draw a line right down the middle. Now that line does not exist. It's imaginary. It is not real except in the mind of the narcissist. So let's put a stick figure on the left. That'll be the narcissist. So the narcissist is the person on the left. Well, They see themselves as good and perfect and godlike. And you, of course, are the complete opposite in their mind. It is an illusion in their mind. And they put you at the complete opposite, 180 degrees in the other box. Again, this is something they're doing inside their mind. It's not real. To them, it seems very real. So, one thing about narcissists is this person, they are living in a complete fantasy. It's a full-scale psychotic break from reality, and that's what makes a narcissist a narcissist. They have this... Now, okay, here's the thing you have to understand, though. This dichotomous way of thinking is the left brain way of processing. Well, most people are left and right brain to some degree or any degree. Narcissists tend to ignore and or completely block off the right brain. And what this causes, it's like they're interacting with an internalized version of you, okay? So they make this illusion of who they think you are up in their mind, and it's not even real. So here's the really bizarre thing. When they first meet you, they're really, really nice to you. They love bomb you. They're sweet to you. Because they know if they were to walk up to you and be like, oh, you're the worst person on the planet. You're a monster. You're this horrible person. You'd be like, whatever, you freaking weirdo. You wouldn't deal with them. And here's the other side of the coin. Or maybe the same side. The reason why they approach you is because you have amazing energy. They want to be exactly like you because they think you're one of the most wonderful people on the planet. And here's the deal. They want to steal your essence, your personality, your energy and all this stuff. Well, they can't because they're only left brain. The reason why they like you is because you're right brain. That's why they're always on the left. You have a personality, you have a social life, people like you, people are drawn to you. They can see when people are looking at you and staring at you, okay? And they want that. That's why they chose you. So on the one hand, they're like, wow, this is a really good person. I want to be just like them. But on the other hand, they have to make you the villain. They have to make you the victim. They have to beat you down and punish you and destroy you. Because part of destroying you is stealing your identity. So now they're you, so you must be not you. You must be the complete opposite. You must be this horrible monster that they paint a picture of in their mind. That's not real. So now that they're becoming you, right? Okay, on the left side, they're becoming a good person. They'll be acting and talking like you. They may start walking, talking, and dressing like you, and using the phrases and verbiage you use, etc. Okay, they essentially copy you. So remember, dichotomous thinking is all about the antithesis, the complete and total opposite of what they are now. So now that they're you, oh, you're a horrible monster. Well, you know what that is? That is an unconscious projection of who they are, and they throw it on you. That's why you're called the scapegoat. The scapegoat is the person or animal that gets blamed for the sins of the tribe, for the bad things that people do. So now it's not them that, well, even though they did do it, it's like, well, it's not me, and then they point the finger at you. And they revel in it, and they keep pointing the finger. It's misdirection, okay? So they convince everyone that you're the bad person. And on an unconscious level, they're basically telling on themselves. So I had a girlfriend who was cheating on me, someone I was madly head over heels in love with, and I didn't even notice any other girl. They could be naked, walk in front of me. I was so blissfully in love, wouldn't even notice it, okay? So a friend of mine came up to me a while later and said, well, you do realize if someone's accusing you of cheating, especially if you're not doing it, it usually means they're the ones who are cheating and they're feeling really guilty about it and they're trying to make you look like the bad guy. And it's like, what? Really? Well, I was pretty naive back then, but I figured it out and I caught him. And well, I'm not going to get to that, but I think you're getting the message here. That's what all this is about. Now, the reason why I put the crosses up again is because this story, this dynamic is as old as time. Key word, old. This has been around since the beginning of mankind. This is two-dimensional thinking. Jesus was the scapegoat. What did he do? He loved people. He healed people. He was good to people. And yet, everyone accused him of everything from working with the devil to doing the devil's work to, whatever. It was always bad. And it's like, well, this guy literally did nothing. Okay, so back to the rectangle boxes. Now, once you leave the narcissist or they get rid of you, whatever, there becomes a major problem. So they're still in the left side of the box, or left box out of this rectangle, okay, with the line. And now there's nobody on the right side. Now, you've seen videos that say, well, what happens to a narcissist when you leave them, when you abandon them, when you block them, when you get, just cut them out of your life? They absolutely lose their shit, and here's why. In the beginning, they're going to blame you, and here's the thing that they're going to do it's going to weird out their friends. They're going to constantly tell their friends that you're calling them, that you're trying to contact them, that they're going to constantly also, the real thing is they're going to keep telling like, yeah, so-and-so's a bad person, they're this and they're that. And after about 4 or 5 weeks, they're going to be looking at the narcissist going, why do you keep talking about this person? I mean, they're not in your life anymore. And then 8 weeks and 9 weeks and 10 weeks. Now, the narcissist doesn't have any clue, but at this point, everyone around them is looking at them like, why do you keep bringing this person up? Like, what the hell is going on with you? And yet they continue. Now, here's what happens. The people around them, the illusion begins to fade. Okay, here's my point. They need other people to enforce this belief that there's this imaginary you in this right box, even though you haven't been there for months, maybe even years at this point. In other words, they need other people to believe in this illusion as much as they do. But the problem is other people start looking at reality and going, look, man, this person's been gone for a long time. It's been 6 weeks or 8 weeks or longer. Well, narcissists will continue this up to years. And they're trying to fight and get people to be on their side. Say, no, this person's a bad person, right? And they're like, yeah, okay, man. Yeah, they're a bad person. Yeah, because after saying this 100 times, they're like, man, I'm really this is burning me out. So here's the deal. Those people eventually start realizing this narcissist is he's got problems. They're full of shit. See, here's the thing. You really shouldn't worry. After about 2-3 months, most of those people that they turned on you start looking at the narcissist like, wait, what's up with this guy? Something's not quite right here. They start seeing through the bullshit. And then on top of it, they see them pull another person in. And then they start, in the beginning, it's love bombing. And they tell all their friends how wonderful you are and then how wonderful this new person is. And after about the third or fourth person, they go, wait a minute, there's a pattern with this guy. They always find these people and they tell us how wonderful, how they're the most amazing person on the planet. They can walk on water. And then about 2 or 3 months go by and they start talking shit about them. They start stabbing them in the back. And next thing you know, they're a monster. They ruined their life. Blah, blah, blah. Oh my God. And after about the second or third victim, they're like, oh, I see what's going on here. Now, here's the message of this video, the entire purpose right now. Here's what happens. When you leave a narcissist, when they get rid of you after a period of time, this is what invariably happens every single time, whether it's you, the next person, the next, the next, the next, the next. And this is the reason why there will always be a next person. Because they're looking at life through this box, through these two boxes side by side with a line drawn right. It's a rectangle with a line drawn down the middle. So if they're over here on the left, and now watch this. If there's nothing in the right box, if there's no monster, no horrible person victimizing them, then guess what happens? They realize that's who they are, because there's a monster that's been getting at them, and they're like, wait a minute, it's inside me. And that's when they lose their shit. And that's when, like your family dynamic, what happens is when there's not a scapegoat for them to kick around, to blame, to say, oh, like I have anxiety today, oh, it's their fault, oh, I cheated at work, oh, it's their fault, or I got caught doing, oh, it's the scapegoat's fault. When you're not there, they don't have anyone to blame. And after a period of time, they're stuck in this illusionary world of this dichotomous, either or thinking left box, right box, and all of a sudden when there's nothing in the right box after a period of time, they literally have a complete and total meltdown because now they have to realize it's them and it always was them. It's like they're stuck in a rectangle box with themselves. And they don't like that. And this is why whenever they get rid of one victim or one victim blocks them and leaves, they will always find another one. They will always create another nightmare story. They will always find another scapegoat. They will always find someone and turn them into the scapegoat. And everything is all their fault once again. And the story or the nightmare continues on. Now here's the way you look at the world. There is no dividing line. See, you have to understand it. Now, I want you to understand something. This is the way you look at the world. There's just us, we together, and that's what this is. When you look at the world from this perspective, literally from an open mind, it's we, it's together, it's us. Okay, versus either or, you or me, them or us. It's kill or be killed. So it's a much more enjoyable place. When you look at the world like this, you get along with people. You're just like, hey, what? Oh, you're Italian? Oh, you're from Italy? Oh, really? Oh, your family owns a winery? Tell me more. I'd love to hear about it. Oh, I'd love to go on a wine tasting tour with you. I would love to learn about wine. It becomes, I want to get to know you. I want to find out more. I'm curious. I'm interested because this is what gives the richness to life. This is what makes life meaningful and fun and enjoyable. All right, I'm going to use the word point. Please forgive me. There's a point I'm trying to make in these two images. I'm trying to get you to understand something. The left brain literally looks at the world like there's a dividing line going down the middle. And it causes that brain to see everything as either or. When you take away that line, it becomes and, both, plus, me and you. It becomes the addition language. 1 + 1 = 2. You plus me equals more. You and I, you plus me working together means we can make more money for both. So all those words like we, plus, more, both, those are all right brain words. So what happens is, if you're in the left brain, you are processing everything through the two boxes. It's either this or it's that. Which one is it? And it picks everything. Everything goes like that. It is just the way that brain functions. The linear logical left brain functions in terms of either or. That's what math and looking under a microscope is all about. It's either this 1 + 1 or 1 - 1. It's either or. It's 2 + 2 or 2 - 2. Okay, it's the old story, and this is a true story. I got a story for you. Alright, so I was in Cold Stone with my goddaughter, okay? She was probably in 11th grade, maybe 12th grade. And we had just ordered ice cream. We were waiting for them to make it. And in comes this man. He was probably about 50, and his wife is about 50, something like that, maybe 46, I don't know. And he goes, I'd like a scoop of vanilla and a sugar cone. And the guy goes, you sure want anything? Nope, that's it. And his wife goes, well, I would like to get a sugar cone with a scoop of orange sherbet, and I would like raspberry ice cream, and I would like a scoop of chocolate on top of it. I would like chocolate drizzle. I would like some nuts on top of it and some, I don't know, fruit or whatever on top of that. And the husband looks at her, you can't get that. And she's like, why? Now, here's the deal. It's obviously they're well-off people. They weren't poor by any means. She goes, why? He goes, and you could see his brain. You could see his brain doing this left, right. He was trying to find a reason, but he realized he couldn't say this out loud because it would sound so stupid. And he goes, "Why, you just can't." And he did say, he goes, "It's either this or it's that." And she goes, "Why?" And he's like, "Yeah, you just can't." And like, here's a grown man losing his shit because she's going, well, why can't I get 3 flavors with toppings on it? What's the deal? Here's the funny thing. You could literally see in his eyes that he didn't have a legitimate answer other than, well, this is the way my brain works. Now, that dichotomous thinking is extremely extremely limited. It makes you feel like you're in prison. You can either get mashed potatoes or you can get hash browns. You can't get both. I mean, it's like you're in jail and it's either or, either or. And by the way, jails teach people to look at everything as black or white because it forces them to follow the rules, which is left brain, either or thinking. So now you are in this world. This is the and in both plus and more. There's no dividing line. But notice what's around the rectangle. There's still a box. This is still a form of limitation. The left brain is the most limited mind. It's extremely limited. It will not consider anything that's outside of the box. The left brain is highly conformative. If a doctor, a scientist, or a college says it, then it must be true. And here's the thing, they believe it blindly without any research at all. As long as Dr. So-and-so wrote a book about it, it must be true. I just blindly accept it. They don't even have to read the book, because to them, that's logical. So when I got really good at using my right brain and being in the present moment, I really started noticing people that are left brain that like the stuff they said made no sense at all. I'm like, wait, what? Well, it's logical. I'm like, how's that logical? Well, it just is. Just accept it. I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Explain it to me. And they can't. Because that's the whole purpose of being in your left brain all the time, even in social situations, is you're hiding from your right brain. You're hiding from your emotions. You don't want to get hurt. And therefore, it's like, well, just go along with it. You know, the scientists say, the majority of people say, therefore it is. Like, no, that doesn't mean that it's true. Alright, so now let's look at this rectangle. The one thing about it is there's still a barrier or a line around it, or lines, okay? And you're still inside something. What we want to do, and this is, okay, so now we're going from the third dimension. Now we're going to open up and we're going to go into the fourth and fifth, etc. So essentially, here's what we're going to be doing. We're knocking down all the walls. No barriers, no restrictions, no limitations. Now we can receive anything and everything, new understandings. You can listen to someone who completely has something that you've never heard of, and you'll understand it better because you're not limiting it within your barriers or within the dichotomous way of thinking. So essentially what this opens you up to is a colorful life, a spiritual life, okay? So a second ago I actually said something quite clear that defined the difference between a religious person and a spiritual person. So religious people have a lot of rules. It's very dichotomous. It's also processed through the dichotomous, two boxes way of thinking. Okay, so if I'm good, then you must be bad. Therefore, you're my enemy. You're either just like me or you're the enemy. Whereas I come from the perspective of, I want to understand your perspective. I want to understand your food, your culture, your music. I want to understand your art. I want to understand your language. Like, who are you? Like, what do you do? Why do you believe that? And here's the deal. I do it with an open mind. See, the left brain, the dichotomous mind, is judgmental. Being judgmental means either or. Either you're good or you're bad. That's being judgmental. And that is literally being narrow-minded, okay? That means you're stuck in the linear, going down a line, a narrow path on the left side of the brain. That's the linear, logical, narrow-minded way. And that's the judgmental way. Religious people have never accepted me, no matter, and the funny thing is I went to church literally religiously for decades until I was about 31, 32 years old, and I was like, oh, I'm done. I'm done. I just was never accepted. Even when I was an associate pastor, I finally walked up to the elders and the pastor said, hey, what's the deal? Like, and he goes, Michael, it's just the way they are. I'm like, so when are they going to accept me? Like, I was sitting there in the pews with them for years and years and years. Now that I'm associate pastor, and I was like, no, I'm not doing this. I go, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to get abused by a bunch of people. I was essentially for the first time in my life saying, I'm not going to be their scapegoat, period. So here's the deal. The reason why they didn't accept me is because I wasn't one of those people that just went along with it. Hey, just be logical, just follow the rules, just, this is what they say and just go along with it. The crowd says this, just, no, I wanted to find out. I was actually reading my Bible, and I was actually looking up the words in their original language during that time and what it actually meant. They didn't like that. And that's one thing I noticed about all the narcissists in my life. They don't like truth at all. Because truth is a right brain function. The left brain is about blocking out the truth. It's about blocking out 97.3% of all reality and just believing what we're telling you. And therefore, none of us has to think, and we can just block out reality and act like kumbaya and everything's wonderful when everything's not wonderful. So here's the thing that I realized as I'm making this video. I've never gotten along with or have been accepted by the either or people, the black or white, the two squares in the rectangle, the line down the middle. That kind of thinking, those people don't like me because I'm the other type. I'm not only the rectangle without a line, I'm the rectangle without any lines. Therefore, I'm not even a rectangle. I'm just this open space. And people in the box don't like that because it's like they're hiding inside a house with walls all the way around them. And then down the middle there's this line, and they have very clearly defined who's good, who's bad, who's right, who's wrong, and this is the way they go through life. So when they bump into someone like me, they're like, okay, well, how do I categorize this guy? Is he good? Is he bad? I don't know. He seems like a nice guy. Well, yeah, but he doesn't believe what I believe. He doesn't see the world the way I see. He doesn't think the way I think. He must be an enemy. Roar! And I did nothing. Except be kind. Now let me tell you something. When I met Buddha Calm, okay, I went through my spiritual awakening when I was 20 years old. The first time I walked into temple, Buddha Calm just looked up and he smiled. And I smiled at him. It was like I met family. Two individuals in the same room with a completely wide open mind, just here to absorb, to receive, to understand, to get along, and to have fun and enjoy life. Because that is what it's all about. He was from Laos, I'm from California. He's from the country, I'm from the city of Napa. I mean, he had dark skin, I had white skin. He spoke Laos, I spoke English. By the way, he spoke zero English. And yet, I understood him better in that one moment, in that split second, than I understood my girlfriend after 8 years. You want to find a divine spouse, a divine spiritual relationship, if you're an open-minded person who does not have that dichotomous, everything is either or, you can only have vanilla or you can have strawberry, you can't have both. If you're with a dichotomous person and you're not dichotomous, get away. It will not work. They don't like you. They're going to spend the rest of their lives trying to beat you down and punish you for being open. And beat you down into either or, and they're going to force you to take their side on everything. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Like damn near 9 out of 10 people that you've ever met in your life. It's almost everyone. Alright, I'm going to explain something. I'm going to take the risk, and I'm sure it's going to be people flipping out because some of you are not and to both plus and more. You're either or thinkers, and you won't even be able to understand what I'm saying. If you've understood what I've said so far, like really understood it, you'll be able to understand this. But wait, there's more. Okay, I'm going to read off something that someone said to me or wrote to me on my YouTube channel that's just brilliant. Her name is Lisa Marriott. She wrote this. Fantastic wisdom. She's talking about a video that I made. She said, Jesus also said, walk the middle path. If we activate both sides to work together, this is left and right brain. This is the holy union, marriage. If we stay on one side, we will be codependent on the opposite sex. So very right brain women need men that are very left brain, because left brain people are very organized and they can function in the modern world, okay? But very right-brain people are extremely creative. So you need a balance of that. So let's go back. If we stay on one side, we will be codependent on the opposite sex. Also, we are coming out of the age of Pisces, the last 2,000 years since Jesus. Now, I've said this before, but I love that she says it. Pisces is a dualistic sign, dichotomy, either or thinking. Two fishes in conflict or harmony. The invention of good and bad, or, well, see, it's funny because it's actually good or bad, but she said good and because she's a right-brained person. She's addition. She adds together. So she wrote, invention of good and bad, good and the devil, the battle of the two sides of the same coin has ruled the last age. We are going into the age of Aquarius, the water bearer who pours knowledge onto the planet that comes from the divine. Now, I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, even as I'm making these videos, information and knowledge comes down into me. Like, whoa, where did that come from? Like, wow. In fact, I just did it about 10 minutes ago where I said, hey, I just realized something right now as I'm making this video. Alright, so she says, we are going into the age of Aquarius, the water bearer who pours knowledge onto the planet that comes from the divine. It rules frequency and communication. Our level of awareness is being elevated, and we are becoming citizens of the world, not just our country. Our consciousness is expanding, and we are realizing we are all in this together. What did I just say about the rectangle? Okay, the togetherness. Thanks for all your hard work, brilliant words, love to all humanity. We are all God's children, and He loves us unconditionally. Now listen to what she says. Now, I've said this in all my videos. In fact, that's why she's responding this in this way. She says, we are here to learn from our mistakes so we can get it right. The punishment mentality gets us nowhere. Many thanks for your great understanding. And that's what I've been telling you. God loves you. He's not here to punish you or to hurt you. He just wants to help you to learn, to grow, to develop, and to enjoy life together. Alright, watch what I wrote on a Yahoo board. Alright, so here's a comment I made recently. I think it was yesterday. Israel is finally going to end Hamas completely. They have to. They have no other choice. Clearly, Hamas will never stop if they don't. I mean, look at what happened on October 7th, not to mention all the years and the decades. It's finally time to do what has to be done. It sucks, it's horrible, but it must be done. The best choice is for the Palestinian civilians and people to support and join Israel in eradication of Hamas, to completely turn against every Hamas soldier and person and turn them over to Israel, to help Israel in every way possible, as if they are 100% on the same team. Unity will end all of this once and for all. Now here's the deal, not one person gave me a negative comment, because usually no matter what you post on those kind of things, like it was some news article, like people will take sides. Now they're going, oh shit, fuck, well I can't really say nothing like that, because the guy's calling for unity. Let's work together, let's become one, let's become friends, let's take each other's side, let's support each other. Everyone's gone, oh okay, can't argue with that, so they don't say a damn word. So here's the deal, everyone is taking sides. I mean, we've got people like supporting Hamas, and I'm like, wait, what? What are you talking about? So the thing about it is this dichotomous thinking causes everyone to take sides, and yet okay, you know how in the past I've literally said, look, you will not find the answer on the level of the problem. You have to rise up above that problem, and you will find the answer. Now here's the deal, this isn't just a cool sounding thing that I'm saying. It's something that I do with my clients on a regular basis. It's something that I've been trained and conditioned to do on an automatic level, okay? I did a lot of training for 12 years with all kinds of organizations, from psychology institutes to NLP institutes to hypnosis institutes, etc., etc. I worked with some governmental agencies. So, alright, let me put it this way. When you work with me, I will be asking you questions, and it will pop you out of the problem. In fact, a series of questions, there's different ways of doing it. it's designed to pop you out of the problem, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I see. And then you find the solution. The solution will literally reveal itself once you pop out of the problem. See, most of you walk around stuck in your problems, and you just think, well, life just sucks. All you got to do is talk to me for about 30 minutes. You can be like, holy shit, like you will pop out. You might even, it depends on our rapport, but if we have a deep level rapport, I'll pop you out of it. It could be 15 minutes or less. All right, now let's wrap this whole thing up from the very beginning. The dichotomous, the line down the middle, the two boxes, the either or thinking, etc. So here's the deal. Let's say, okay, so basically, essentially, Palestinians want to get rid of Israel. They literally say they want to go from the sea all the way to the river. I think it's the Nile River, whatever river it is, I don't know. Which means they're going to get rid of all the Israelis. They're going to say, you're gone. They're either going to kill them or they're going to make them leave the land, okay? So let's say, okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Because right now, and for a long time, the Jewish people have been the scapegoats of the Middle East. Period. End of sentence. And I think Europe at some point. So let's say it actually happens. The UN, Europe, the United States, the West comes down and they destroy Israel and it's completely gone. Okay? Let's just say they've been wiped off the planet. Not just pushed out of Israel, but just gone. Well, guess what's going to happen? In the beginning, it's going to be a celebration. It's going to be party time. It's going to be fun. We won. We're victorious. Now we have all of Israel. We have all the land. And things will be fine for a little while. But then what happens is, well, you've got that dualistic, that dichotomous way of thinking. You've got those two boxes, that line down the middle of the rectangle. And, yeah, they're going to start going nuts. They're going to start having meltdowns. And then what's going to happen is they're going to start beating their wives. They're going to be beating their children. They're going to be beating up their neighborhoods. Or not their neighborhoods, but their neighbors. Things are going to start getting chaotic within probably 12 months or less. Okay, it may, on a public level, appear to be beautiful for a year, maybe 2 or 3 years, maybe a little bit more, but I guarantee you all hell will break loose. We must find another scapegoat. Now that we've got rid of this scapegoat, now that everyone's turned against this scapegoat, someone else has to take the other side of this box. I'm on the left side, somebody must be on the right side. Because inside they're going nuts. Now, what do they say about when there's chaos? It's like if you can find a mutual enemy, then now we can get along. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So somebody must be the scapegoat. And that might actually be Palestine. So then what's going to happen is everyone in the Middle East is going to look at Palestine and be like, oh yeah, fuck you. And now they're going to get annihilated. Because this is scapegoat mentality. This is a dichotomous way of looking at the world, which causes a scapegoat. There has to be somebody at the bottom for everybody to blame and accuse, and that to take all their hurt and anger out on and to cast their shame upon. This is what everything is about. And until we as a society get over this two-dimensional dichotomous way of thinking, it's just going to keep repeating and repeating and repeating. I mean, Jesus was supposed to be the final end of all ends of all scapegoats. But it didn't end with him. It still continues because people refuse to let go of this either-or way of thinking. And you know, it's funny, the end in both way, the right brain, the fourth dimension, fifth dimension, it is such a joyful, fun, it's literally like you're let out of jail. It's like you are finally mentally and emotionally and physically and spiritually free. But people that are dichotomists, they look at happy people and they're like, well, you must be punished for that. And I'm like, why? I didn't do nothing wrong. I'm not in a classroom. I'm not interrupting anyone. Like, what's the problem? Well, you're not like me, so you must be punished. You're laughing, you're smiling, you're happy. And this is exactly what it's like dealing with the dichotomous narcissist. They punish you every time you're happy because they're not happy, and that makes them crappy. And it's exactly like Lisa Marriott said at the very end of her thing. She says, this punishment mentality gets us nowhere. And that's exactly true. Constantly looking for an enemy and beating them down and punishing them, it gets nobody nowhere. It just makes everybody miserable. I am going to absolutely 100% prophesize right now. Here's what's going to happen. They will destroy the enemy. They will make peace on earth. And here's what they're going to do. There's going to be rules up the yin-yang. One group of people is going to take control, and they're going to physically force by punishment, by torture, by abuse, even by killing the other cultures to abide by their rules. Suddenly, there's going to be all these rules. It's going to be strict, but they're going to call it peace on earth, and peace shall reign, because the scapegoat was finally destroyed, and everything is fine and everything is beautiful. Now, I don't know if this is going to last for 1 year or 4 years or 5 years, but it will last for a length of time. I'm going to tell you right now what's going to happen. All holy hell will absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, will break loose. You will see the biggest war on the planet that you have ever seen in the history of mankind. I guarantee it. And only then, when billions and billions of people have been killed, slaughtered, murdered, when people have suffered beyond, will they finally snap out of it. They will give up. They will finally let go of the punishment either or mentality. I'm right, you're wrong. If you're right, then I must be wrong. That whole thing will be gone. People will let go and finally give in to just being. Get your popcorn, because it is going to be one hell of a ride in the next few years. You watch. And by the way, when there comes peace on the planet, it's only an illusion. It won't last long. I think it's going to last a year. It might last longer. And by the way, I just realized something. This is actually in the Bible. And you might ask me how I figured it out. Well, it's because of this dichotomous either or, the line in the middle. And once you get, it's because I've popped out of it myself. Once you pop out of it, you understand why. Because I stressed out. I was so stressed to the max I couldn't do it anymore. And I just let go of that dichotomous way of thinking. And then I found peace. I found myself. I found this freedom. You know, like they say, freedom's in the mind. It is once you let go of it. Once you go through the process, you can see it in other people, how they're stuck in that either or way of thinking. And you also realize they won't let go of it until they suffer tremendously. And that, my friends, is what's going to happen. Don't worry about it. Don't stress. Watch the world and enjoy your life. Okay? God bless you guys. Hey, if you guys like this video, if this made a lot of sense to you, go ahead and click subscribe, click the like button. Make a comment, and if you want, go ahead and make a donation. And remember, we have a training on how to pop out of it. That's what this training is going to be about, November 18th. And then on November 19th, we're going to talk about why men just don't get it. We go over the left and right brain, the dichotomous way of looking at the world versus the open way, okay? I'll see you guys in the next video. God bless you.